2-year-old grandson is now into no. 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 Next thing, as annoying as that is, the next thing he'll be into is even more annoying. That's why. Why? 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 It's an annoying question, isn't it? Maybe that's the really dangerous thing about the Vital Church Initiative, is that what it's demanding of all of us is to ask why. Nothing more annoying than that. Why? I gotta know why? Over the last couple of weeks, we've been inundated from all angles with why, and some of that I shared in the newsletter. That was from the district leadership conference even. And Simon Sinek's the importance of why. He's in marketing, and he reminds us that his belief is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Which means for the church, people don't become part of your church because of what you do, but why you do it. Why? Why do we do what we do? Why are we here? Why are we here in this time and this place? That's a tough question, isn't it? Now, we can have a lot of pat answers. Well, we're a church. We're supposed to be here. Jesus told us to be here. But why us? Why us? Why this collection? Why now? And why here? Those are the answers we seek, because if we know the why, then we'll know the how. And then we'll know what. We get those confused sometimes, especially because most of us approach things starting with what? Like Judas. You know, what was going on, he objected to. But Jesus wasn't worried about what was going on. He was more considered why it was happening. Why was Mary washing his feet? Give you a good exercise. As you read the Gospels, especially those parts where Jesus is talking to people, notice that consistently through the Gospel, Jesus hardly ever answers their question directly. He never answers the what of their question. He answers the why did they ask it in the first place, which is really annoying. At least most people that he talks to find it annoying. If you really want to, get under somebody's skin on purpose for some reason, I don't know why you do that, but if you really wanted to, when they ask you a question, answer the why they're asking it. Well, if you know why, well, that's the trick. Because we all... I had a 3-year-long argument with a professor of mine in grad school who argued that everything everyone does is selfish. And I disagreed with him. And for 3 years, we bandied back and forth, and I don't think we ever resolved it. But it was good exercise. Because I would say, yeah, but what about somebody that takes their food and gives it to someone else who's hungry? Just, well, it makes them feel good and do that. So they're doing it so they feel good. I said, well, maybe they are feeling good if they do, but that's not why they did it. He says, oh yeah, that's why they do it, just to feel good. I said, well, there's a lot of ways to feel good. You wouldn't have to do that. But... So we went back and forth on this for a long time. Because he believed that everything we did, our agenda, was our own self-gratification. I still disagree with it. I think sometimes we do things just because they need doing. And, if we get some satisfaction out of that, that's nice, but it's not why we did it. We don't mentor kids in Kids Hope, so, their parents will come to church. We mentor kids in Kids Hope because they need it. We don't feed people in our food pantry in hopes they'll come to church. We feed people in our food pantry because they're hungry. Now, if those other things happen, that's okay, but it's not why we do it. I see very often our why is believing that we can make a difference in our community. That through the things that we do and the activities that we sponsor, we believe we can make a difference. And that's pretty hopeful. Because it's easy to get cynical. It's easy to get like Judas. What are you doing that for? We could have sold that. We could have made more money on that. We could have done more good with that. Over there. It's easy to get cynical. And believe that people have these, horrible hidden agendas that we don't know about. It's much harder to be hopeful. To look around us and still believe we can make a difference. That's a good thing. And if we believe that, if we believe, like Mary, who was preparing Jesus for burial, but also for resurrection, if we believe there is hope out there, if we believe we can make a difference, if that's our why, then how does that work itself out? What kinds of things will we do to make a difference in our community? We're doing some of those already. I guess if we believe, if we have the hope that as Christ's body in this time and place we can make a difference, I guess that's saying that we believe that Christ makes a difference in us too. There's a novel thought. Paul said, be transformed. That those things that are dying in us can be resurrected. Those hopes and dreams and things that get kind of dashed by the realities of the world sometimes. The world gets to be a tough place now and then. And sometimes we get a little discouraged. Mary reminds us that even in the worst of circumstances, there's still hope. Even if Judas doesn't want to see it. Now, John says that Judas was against it because he liked to steal from the purse. I don't know, man. I think they just had this little conflict myself. But that might have been John's agenda. But for whatever reason, Judas couldn't see beyond his own nose sometimes. And sometimes we get that way too. We get wrapped up in ourselves. Have you ever happened to that? You get wrapped up in your own stuff and your own agenda and kind of lose sight of what the big picture is? It's never happened to me. Just ask my wife. Any guy that doesn't believe he does it, just ask your wife. sometimes we get to thinking that what's going on in our brain is the only thing that's important in the world. And it leads us to do some pretty dumb things now and then, like those sheep from last week that wander off on their own. And sometimes we get ourselves in trouble because we're not, our vision is a little too close to our face. We don't see the big picture. Sometimes we get more concerned about the stain on the carpet rather than the people that we help, We do that sometimes. We get too concerned about stuff that's not important and not concerned about stuff that is. If anything, it's been drilled into my head the last few weeks with the various seminars we've been to. A few of us went to the 180 Turnaround Church Conference a week ago, and then we had our BCI session, and over and over again, it's about vision and why, and we realized that truly successful people and organizations really know who they are and what they're about and why they exist. I suspect that for years, the church, and any church, any local church, has been a kind of pretty clear mission that their task was to raise the next generation in the faith. And they were really good about that task. Where's Larry? How many did we have in Sunday school here in 1982?
190.
Huh?
190.
190. 190 in Sunday school. That's a pretty successful mission, I'd say. And that was before you added on the, 192 people in Sunday school here. Raising up the next generation is not our why anymore. Because we don't have our next generation to raise up anymore. Most of you already raised up the generation, but they moved away. And their kids aren't here. So, maybe we need a new mission. Maybe we need a new why. If that's not it. That's what we're working on. Is finding that vision. And we'll get it because, we know who the caster of visions is. And we know that we will be given clear meaning and guidance. Because we know the one who knows where he wants us to be. And that's always a good thing to know. As we go forward, things will change. I'm sorry about that. It's inevitable. You know what? Things are going to change anyway. Remember when we did that a few weeks ago? Well, it's been a month ago or so now. I mean, look around you and now add 20 years. Things are going to change. Whether we want them to or not. And they can either change on their own or we can help direct it. And usually doing the latter makes a whole lot more sense. I'm excited. We live in a time that is going to be talked about 500 years from now as one of those great movements and changes in the church and the spirit. Like we talked about the Reformation 500 years ago. Or like they talked about the Great Schism 500 years before that. Or they talked about the establishment of the Roman Catholic Church 500 years before that. Or they talked about the coming of Christ 500 years before that. Or they talked about the Babylonian exile and the writers of Isaiah and Jeremiah and the Buddha and the Tao and Confucius 500 years before that. You get that pattern? I don't know what it is. Every 500 years, God does something big. And we're right in the middle of it. Scary, isn't it? It's exciting, too. The interesting thing is every time we go to a conference on church stuff, everybody goes, what are we doing? Everybody goes, I don't know. It's like the blind leading the blind. We have no idea what church is going to look like 20 years from now. But it's not going to look like it does now. And that's scary. Because we know how to do what we do now. The problem is that it works really good for us. But, everyone under 40, raise your hand. And do that in any church in America. So, we got work to do, right? If we believe that we can make this community a better place, if we believe we can make a difference, then we need to make a difference for everybody, not just for us that are here, right? So think about the ways that we can make a difference in young people's lives. And I mean anybody under 40, because for us, most of us, those are young people. I hate to say that, but my doctor reminded me last week I was elderly. I'm not really comfortable with that yet, but... Well, I used to be young. How can we make a difference? How can we anoint the feet of those who aren't here so that they also want to be at the feet of Christ, so that they also desire to join in an effort to make a difference in the community they live in? Think about that. Now, I know it's easy to be Judas. Oh, man. Cynical old Judas with his own agendas. Think about why. Why we're here. And if we're here to make a difference in our community, how can we make a difference for those younger than us? What's that going to look like? Don't you hate why? It's a tough question. But it's one we have to answer anyway. Let's pray. It's a lot easier, Lord, just to keep on doing what we do. Because it's good enough for us. But you call us to more than that. That means we got some work to do. So let us seek your wisdom, Lord, and your guidance. And train our minds to think about why. Because then that will guide us how and what we need to do. Guide us well.